write a note or handwrite it, letter writing is a key to maintaining relationships because it shows that you took the time to write it out, put it in the mail, pay for the postage, and stuck it in the mail. And that's meaningful. When somebody gets that physical piece of paper in their hand and to read it, that you thought about them, it creates an impression.
I don't think enough people reach out to attendees prior to the event. And that, to me, was key. Like, I learned that, and then I started doing it, and it changed the game for me with those events. So there's usually an attendee list. You know, block out some time before the event, go through the attendee list, look up those people on LinkedIn, find their email, contact them if you think that there's something interesting there. And then that kind of warms it up, you know, and then when you're at the event, it's like, oh, hey, you emailed me, and it's nowhere near as awkward if you do that, and it's a lot easier to warm up the conversation. So that's one thing. And the other thing I do is I actually just try to just have really short conversations with as many people as possible, and then make sure, unless I get involved in a very interesting discussion, which happens sometimes, but unless that happens, I'm just hitting as many people as I can and getting as many business cards as I can so that I know that I can follow up if I haven't already been in contact with them previously.
I really personally took advantage of my college. They had a lot to offer in terms of internships and programs on campus. So I pretty much did everything I could to build relationships with my professors. So they did a lot to reach out within their networks. They encouraged us to go to different conferences. Being in healthcare, conferences are huge for continuing education and staying current within your field. So I think one of the best things that they taught me for that was to go to those conferences and start going to them as students. And then, you know, taking advantage of your internships. So my internship for me turned into a job at a position, but it was those, everything that I laid down as an intern built to that.
Part of, you know, learning to be an effective networker is also mentorship. It's related, and I feel like one of the things that helped me when I was, you know, just starting out, I mean, I feel like I'm just starting in my career now, but like really, really just starting, was to find good mentors, people who, without an agenda, said, look, I think I see something in you, I want you to succeed, I'm gonna, you know, if you need to talk, call me, you know, I'm here to give you guidance. And I think it's important to seek those people out. I mean, sometimes not everyone is as forthright. You're not always going to get someone who says, call me anytime, you know, I want to help you. But you might get someone who expresses some level of interest in you that you can kind of foster that relationship. So, I mean, in some ways, you know, finding a mentor is networking. It's sort of I think, an important step, an important first step. And so for people, you know, who are in school, who are looking, you know, for what's my first step, what should I be doing now, I think very important, find a mentor and develop the relationship, not just give me, but a real relationship.
Something that I'm just thinking about, if I were to go back in time, you're never going to be more or less qualified than you are when you're a senior. So, hopefully. So, like, if I were to think about it now, I should have done something that didn't seem even remotely aligned with my skills or interests, because I'm basically just as unqualified to go do something that was in engineering as I was to do the thing that I did that was in design. And I probably could have gotten picked to do something in engineering because I had like the illusion of I'd been on the robotics team, so maybe they would have let me do it. Whereas as a college graduate, no one was going to give me an entry-level job in engineering because I had no undergraduate work in that. So I would almost say, like, do something that's the exact opposite of what you're thinking you could be, because it's your last chance to really get in the door with no ability or skills.
It's just using the tools that are freely available, like LinkedIn. I always make sure that if I meet someone, I add them on LinkedIn. It's simple, but I think a lot of people forget to do it. But for me, it's really important because I know, regardless of what job I'm in or what company I'm at, as long as LinkedIn is a business and exists, that connection is going to exist on LinkedIn. So I always add people on LinkedIn, and then I have a very specific way of ordering folders in my email. And I've automated, you know, ways of things going into different folders, and I just keep things very organized based on different types of contacts that I have so that if I ever need to dig up an email or a person, I can find it in that specific folder. So those are just two examples, but lists on Twitter, groups on Facebook, I mean, all of these tools that we use every day have specific ways of networking, and I think it's just about taking that extra time to use those tools that are available to you.
I mean, I feel like lawyers really like business cards, so I get business cards a lot from people. I always write on the back as soon as someone gives me a business card, like the date where I met them, something that I recall from the conversation, something so they'll stay in my mind and it won't just be like another face in the crowd. And then like once a month, if I'm really busy, once every 2 months, I just go through all the business cards I have, and like if it makes sense to reach out to that person, I might just check in with them, see how they're doing, make sure they still remember me, remind them how they know me. And so that's one of the things that I do just to like organize, I guess, the contacts that I've made.